All right, and welcome back to the forecast card. Pretty solid day for all intents and purposes. Three, one, and three pushes, all of which I personally think should have hit. A little bit frustrated with the way some of these games went, but let's kind of go through them quickly. Cubs first five, never really stood a chance. I really love Shota, but he had a terrible day. Gave up 5 runs, 2 home runs. The Cubs only ended up getting 4 hits that game. Kind of annoying that the one day I back the Cubs is when their offense goes ice cold, and the one day I back Imanaga, he gets lit up with 7 hits. It is what it is, though. Happens. Rangers end up winning the game 6-2. Orioles and Diamondbacks over 9. Somehow the Orioles get 0 runs this game. Weather and everything, it felt like they should have got at least a single, like at least one home run. Diamondbacks had 4 home runs, and the Orioles have that lineup that basically that's all they used to do offensively is just get home runs. So they only ended up getting 4 hits, only left 3 on base. The D-backs had 8 left on base despite getting 9 runs. So clearly Diamondbacks was just the right side there. Pretty frustrating to get a push here when one team puts up 0. You think that maybe something would give, but unfortunately gives it a push there. Dodgers Nationals over, pretty sweat free. Um, 7 runs in the first, and then by the third, it was at least a push. And then it kind of got a little scary that it was just going to end at that score at 5-4. But fortunately, the Dodgers get 2 runs in the seventh to bring us over the top. Astros Mariners first five under. Clearly the right side, considering this game ended up with uh, 13 runs at the end of the game. So the full game under got smoked. But yeah, this one sucked. Astros, they got 3 runs in the second. They just completely lit up Louis Castillo. Just it wasn't even like home runs. It was just single, and he gave up an RBI walk. And then it turns out that RBI walk ended up being what costed us the hitting. That was actually ended up being the push. So uh, just one implosion. Nothing really happened in any of the other innings. So another time I take a first five under. Just one pitcher has a really bad inning. It's really all it takes, and why I'm kind of always scared of taking first five unders. But felt like the right side, and clearly the bullpens kind of shit the bed. So Braves first five money line. Clearly, again, the right side. They didn't end up winning the game outright, but yeah, Braves had 12 LOB. Obviously, the Phillies got a lot of hits early on too, so it kind of went both ways. But the fourth inning and the fifth inning, the Braves had bases loaded, and they couldn't get a single run across. Taiwan Walker is like genuinely so bad, but he didn't give up a single earned run in 4 innings pitched. Um, on 5 hits and 3 walks. Really expected at least one run, man. Really kind of shitty. But again, if I took a full game, I would have lost. So kind of happy, I guess, in hindsight, but definitely a frustrating one to watch. Um, Twins money line, I would say relatively sweat free. They end up winning this game 4-0. Basically, off of 2 home runs later. Royals just couldn't get anything together. They had 3 hits, only had 3 LOB. Both teams had really no offense, 7 LOB in this game. So Twins win that game pretty sweat free. And Brewers, of course, the least sweaty of sweats. They end up winning this game 17-2. Everyone on Milwaukee ends up throwing home runs. Yeah, pretty solid day. Again, really think it could have easily been 5-1 or 6-1 or even 4-1 with some of these, but again, I guess pushes are better than losses, so we take what we can get. There's not really much baseball on this Friday, so I took a few more bets than maybe I would have, just because I kind of like to take some action, especially when it's like an afternoon games like tomorrow. But yeah, if you've been tailing, maybe you can lean off this today. That's just gonna be my betting leans that I typically wouldn't bet on like a full slate of baseball. But yeah, I have 4 bets in the sixth game tomorrow. Let's go over them. All right, heading on to game number one, we have the Angels heading on the road to play the Rays. Not really sure which side I want to bet here. I do think Soriano is the better pitcher of the two, but Littell, he's 0-2 to start the year, and he's been really good at home. And Soriano, he's been decent on the road, but I don't know. I don't fully know what to expect from him. His last start looked a little bit shaky. Cleveland's not a great offense, and he still gave up 5 earned runs, 3 walks. He had 9 Ks, but wasn't necessarily too impressed with him. And if you look at what he's necessarily bad at, he's typically really bad this year has been really shitty against lefties, but in the previous years he's been really bad against righties. So I don't really know what we're going to get from Soriano. Don't really want to back him. I also don't want to back really either of these offenses. They're kind of playing well today, but I think both their offenses are due for some regression. Weather, it's going to be really warm. But again, Rays Stadium, not necessarily that great for runs. And the wind's going to be blowing left to right, so it's going to benefit whoever has more lefty bats, which is definitely going to be the Rays. The Angels really only have one lefty bat and two switch hitters. Assuming they both switch left, they have three lefties. While Tampa Bay is going to be pretty loaded up with five lefties. So, yeah, I would have to slight lean on the Rays and then a lean on the first five under 4.5 would have to be my bets. But no bet in this first game. Not really interested in backing either team or either pitcher. All right, that brings us to game number 2. We have the White Sox heading on the road to play the Cleveland Guardians. Now, this is going to be another shitty game. If you look at both of these pitchers, obviously Cannon historically has had a tough time against lefties, giving up over a 250 batting average. Even this year, he's looked really good against righties, but he's given up more hits and a home run to lefties this year compared to righties, sub 200. And historically, he's been much worse on the road. So I think he's probably going to get lit up, if I had to guess. That being said, the Cleveland Guardians' offense has looked really bad. I think they're due for at least some success. If you look at Cleveland, they have 7 lefties here, so I think he's probably going to get lit up. But again, I just don't trust the Guardians enough to bet their run line. It is plus 100. I kind of like it. That being said, the White Sox offense was actually decent today, even though they end up losing that game 2-3. They had 8 hits compared to the Guardians, who only had 3 hits. They had 11 left on base that game. Both teams had 18 left on base overall. I think that's a good sign. These teams don't strike out a ton, and these pitchers both have some control issues. So I think we can see some runners getting on base. Gavin Williams, historically, been pretty good. I'd say on paper he's a better pitcher than Cannon. That being said, he's been a little bit shaky at home. Last year, he was 0-7 at home. So not really someone I want to back at home. And he's been pretty bad against righties. And again, the Angels, if you look at their lineup, very righty heavy. So if I had to pick a side on this game, I'm gonna go for it. I don't love it because of how bad these offenses have been, but I think they're due for a decent offensive performance. Don't really trust either of these pitchers. And weather-wise, it's not going to be fantastic weather, and obviously, not a fantastic stadium for runs either. But we're gonna have a lot of. It's gonna be potentially raining. Kind of gonna be pretty cold. Winds are gonna be blowing right to left, which historically does lean towards having more runs historically. Fuck it. Just because there's no games on, I probably wouldn't bet this any other time. But yeah, give me the first 5 over 4 in this game. I think both these teams are due to get some hits going. And they still have some talent on both sides. The fact that there was 18 left on base yesterday and the score was still 2-3, I think. Let me check. Yeah, we would have gotten a push yesterday, and that was with some bad luck. So I think we see some more hits, especially from Cleveland. Both these pitchers, I'm not really sure I can trust either of them yet. And the fact that it's raining, not necessarily a good thing for hitting, but who knows? Maybe they need a bit of a change of scenery. But I do think the wind should encourage some balls to catch some wind. And a couple more pop-ups maybe are a bit harder to catch. So, yeah, first 5 over 4 is my pick on this one. All right, that brings us to game number 3. We have the Twins heading on the road to play the Royals. These two teams, like talent-wise, they have a ton. But I really think I need to take the under here. Royals' offense has been non-existent. They look kind of similar to the Orioles. They have, I would say, Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson are kind of comparable. 2 elite starters that have been playing really poorly. But these teams really don't have a lot of solid base hitters. It seems like they all just have a bunch of power hitters. And if you're not hitting the ball, you're striking out a lot. Twins, 10 strikeouts. The Royals only had 4 strikeouts, but they only had 3 left on base. So I'm assuming they were just kept dropping the ball into double plays or whatever, ground balls. So I'm going to take the under 8.5 in this one. If you look at the weather, for this game. Um, we're gonna have very heavy left to right winds. Um, and statistically, when you have very heavy left to right winds, you get a lot less home runs. You get a lot less runs in general. Um, and I think that's going to continue to be the trend. These two offenses, again, I already don't really trust. And I think because of how bad these pitchers have started off, that we're going to get some good numbers. But again, Bailey Ober is a pretty good pitcher. He obviously just had a bad game um, in his first start, where he gave up 8 hits and 8 earned runs against the Cardinals. But his next start was a lot better. Not amazing. He still had a 12.15 ERA, 3 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. But I think that jump shows that he is improving. And historically, he has been a decent pitcher, especially on the road. So I think he bounced back here against a Royals team that can't really seem to hit anything. And Michael Wacha, not a great pitcher, but he's what I would consider a solid middle of the road pitcher. He'll pitch 4 to 5 innings, give up usually a run or two. But again, he's been a lead at home, sub 3 ERA since 2023. And he's also been, kind of getting lit up a bit more versus righties. And for the most part, the Twins lineup's very left heavy. So, under 8.5 here. I think weather helps. Two solid pitchers. And I do kind of like both these bullpens. They were used quite a lot today, which obviously does concern me a little bit. I'm not really sure what we're going to get from some of these. Again, I'm not sure if Duran's going to play. Griffin Jack's probably isn't going to play, but I personally don't really like him anyway, so that's a W in my books. And for the Royals, Urkeg probably going to play. Stevie's hopefully doesn't play. I also think he's kind of shit. I don't know. I think the bullpens are decent. I have them both as top 10 bullpens when healthy. Whether or not that translates to the actual field, I don't know. Again, when I'm looking at my bullpen numbers, they're very, very based on previous year, whatever. So who knows if they're actually that great? But yeah, I quite like this spot here. Again, Bailey Ober historically has been kind of bad against the Royals, but I don't think anything can save this team. If I had to pick a side, it would be the Royals here, but I'm going to be on the under 8.5 on this one. All right, that brings us to game number 4. We have the Brewers heading on the road to play the Rockies. Now, I love this over before they scored 19 runs today, but I honestly still like the over. In terms of Coors Field, the weather's going to be pretty good for this time of year. Both offenses are honestly pretty decent. The Brewers are starting to really wake up, and the Rockies have so many bomb potential hitters. They have like Chris Bryan, Hunter Goodman, Ryan McMahon. There's even a few other guys that hit home runs today. Ezekiel Tovar. These are all guys with some really solid exit velocity and hard hit rates this year. Some better than others, but I think both these pitchers in Quinn Priester and Ryan Feltner both give up a lot of hard contact. At least they did this year in their first starts. Again, we got one little inning from Quinn Priester. He went 4 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Again, now he's going to have to pitch in the altitude, which is never an easy thing to do. Typically does throw you off. If you look at his stats, historically, not great. Versus lefties, he's going to have a .33 batting average. Versus righties, .231. And that's over a pretty solid sample. Obviously, the Rockies, not really a massive lefty lineup, but they still have 4 lefties. I think they're going to find some success. Last year, he had an ERA in basically 5 and 5, and then the year before that, 9 and 6 in terms of away home splits. I don't think this guy's that great. Gives up hard contact. He's only going to improve. He's still young, but I think pitching in Coors Field's never easy. And Ryan Feltner, this is going to be his second game pitching here, but he pitched one time and he still gave up 8 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk. He kind of got bailed, only giving up 2 earned runs on 8 hits and 1 walk, but he only had 4 strikeouts. Historically, he's been pretty bad at home. Last year, he had an ERA of 5.10 at home. Gives up a solid amount of walks, not a high K rate. Gives up a couple home runs. Nothing to write home about. Year before that at home, he had 8.40 ERA, giving up a ton more walks. Not a big home run guy, but again, not a big strikeout guy. Definitely kind of a ground ball guy. Hasn't been good this year. 12 hits over 10 innings pitched, 2 home runs, only 9 strikeouts. I think he gets lit up here against this Brewers team that really seems to be figuring out their offense. Obviously, you could argue they're due for some regression after the day yesterday, but if you look at the weather, it's going to be clear skies, 60 degrees, not necessarily warm, but not freezing. We're going to have winds right to left, which historically lead to a lot more runs and more home runs, especially in a field like Coors. So don't really love having to bet an over after a big over just happened, but I'm just going to go with the numbers here and assume both these pitchers are going to get lit up. And again, if you look at the stats, these two bullpens are the two worst bullpens so far this year. Let me pull up their stats. Yeah, sorry. I guess it's actually changed a bit. Oh, no, that's 2024. Yeah. So we have the Brewers ERA this year in their bullpen, 5.62. The Rockies, 6.81. In terms of whip, 1.76 and 1.43. Bullpen's not great, and they had to go a lot today. I think both bullpens got used a ton already. A bad bullpens are already used up. That means that if the starting pitchers aren't having great days, they're going to be held in for longer than they normally would. So that being said, I'm going to take the over 10.5 in this one. Coors Field over. Don't love it, but I think the Brewers will get theirs, and the Rockies will want to bounce back. So yeah, over 10.5 for me. All right, game number 5. Now, this is kind of more of a system play because the Jays and especially the Red Sox, the Jays have been getting their runs to some degree, but both these teams could not get much going today. 10 left on base. Both teams had 4 hits and 6 hits. But that was against, in my opinion, 2 really good pitchers. Gallisman went 8 innings, 10 strikeouts. Hook, 5 hits, went 6 innings. So both bullpens didn't really get used too much, which is kind of a little bit of my concern. But again, I don't think neither bullpen's that great. Red Sox on paper have a really good bullpen, but not really sure I necessarily trust them. Now, in terms of starter pitching, we have Chris Bassett and Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, outside of the playoffs, is not a good pitcher. Like, if you look at his regular season stats last year, he had a 4.6 ERA, low strikeout rate, high walk rate, high home run rate. When you're going up against a Jays lineup that is probably kind of due for some home runs, Santander and Guerrero both haven't hit one yet. Obviously, you got the Green Giant, so home runs are pretty tough for right-handed hitters, but I think Santander, as a lefty, could get a couple, or at least get one. And this year, he's been so bad. Basically, 9 ERA, 8 ERA, home and away. He's given up 14 hits, 1 walk, 3 home runs on 9 innings pitched. Really not great, in my opinion. And I think the Jays are starting to get their bats going. Chris Bassett has looked really good this year. He's only given up 1 earned run over 12 innings pitched. That being said, he played against the Orioles, who have been really, really bad. And they played the Mets, who really haven't been great either. Not saying that the Red Sox have been hitting well, but yeah, last year he was definitely not this good. He's a decent away pitcher, but a couple people on the Red Sox have some good numbers against him. If you look at his stats historically over 94 at-bats against Chris Bassett, the Red Sox have a .314 average against them with their current lineup. And that's on 7 home runs, 33 hits, and only 23 strikeouts. So a sub 20% strikeout rate against them. Yeah, I think the Red Sox are due. They've been really bad this series. I think their entire team's going to be really pissed off. I think Bregman, Devers go crazy like they did that one game. Cassis has been bad. Duran has been bad. I think they're due. Willie Aber's been kind of really good this year. He's kind of went cold, but he's offensively been really, really good. And then the Blue Jays, again, haven't necessarily been offensive wagons this year. But before this game, they put up 6-6. And then the series gets the Nationals 5-5-4. Yeah, obviously they put nothing up against the Mets where they got swept. But since then, they've really been locking in. And I think the Red Sox are down 3-0 so far to the Jays. They're going to have to get runs this game. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to get swept at home. And I think the Jays will get theirs. So weather-wise, again, still going to be pretty cold in the Red Sox stadium. But we're going to get right-to-left winds, which, again, do technically encourage hits, especially against right-handed hitters, which is, kind of what you want. Every kind of hit into left field should carry a bit further and hit that Green Giant. which will help with runs. Going to be chilly, but these guys have played in the stadium 3 times now. I think they're going to be a lot more used to it. Yeah. Again, the line makes no sense to me because they just put up 3 runs. I think the books are trying to tell us this is going to go over. And that's basically the main reason why I'm playing it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't touch it. So give me the over 9 in the Toronto versus Red Sox game. All right. And to finish us off, we have the Phillies heading on the road against the Braves. Now, again, the first 5 under has not been doing me well. I think I'll be the first to say that. I think I'm 0-1-1 so far this season. But both have been felt extremely unlucky, and now we're getting 2 aces. Luzardo has looked incredible to start the year. Schwellenbach also has looked amazing. He has a 0 ERA. Had pretty much a perfect start in his last game. I'm going to isolate this because I don't really love either bullpen, especially after last game. I think both kind of used a few arms. But yeah, if you look at Schwellenbach's stats, last year, again, solid home and away stats. He's elite. This year, he's seen 48 batters, not given up a single earned run yet. No doubles, no home runs. He's only given up 3 hits and 1 walk. Again, that was against the Padres, who were pretty hot in late March, and the Marlins, who aren't necessarily elite by any means, but he still struck out 10 of them, only gave up 2 hits. Whip up in both games sub .35, so he's looking amazing. And Luzardo, I don't even know what this guy's turning into, his prime Luzardo again. I don't know what's going on, but 12 innings pitched against Nationals and Dodgers. He has 19 strikeouts, 7 hits, only 2 earned runs. He's looking incredible. Last year he was not putting up these numbers, but his stuff looks good. Both of these offenses can be somewhat shaky. Obviously, the Phillies are kind of a wagon. There was quite a lot. There was 21 left on base today. And whenever I see a ton of left on base, which means both these teams were getting hits yesterday, I think their bats cool down. I think these pitchers are really elite. I think they're going to be a ton of strikeouts early, a lot of forced double plays. Both pitchers easily go 5 innings. I think first 5 under 4. I think the only runs that come through are going to be home runs, and I'm just hoping that there's no people on base. If you look into the numbers a little bit more, these 2 pitchers are really good against these lineups. Luzardo, over 84 at-bats, has 27 strikeouts, only 18 hits, keeping the Braves to a .214 average, .670 OPS. And Schwellenbach, over 64 at-bats, only giving up 16 hits, 14 Ks, and 0 strikeouts, or 0 home runs. Luzardo only giving up 2 home runs, so... yeah, I love this spot. These 2 offenses very, very driven by home runs, and both of these pitchers seem to just be high strikeout, low walk, and low home run, which I think is crucial. Plus, if you look at the weather here for this game, we're going to have, again, right to left, which isn't necessarily good, but in this case, I think it's fine because there's a lot of lefty hitters. That's going to be tough on them. But it's going to be probably raining, going to be a little bit chilly. And when it's cold and raining, you get really cold. And I think, obviously, you could argue that impacts the pitchers, but again, that doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like the batters have been going cold, especially like when you look at the Yankees or the Dodgers playing in cold weather. So, yeah, give me the first 5 under 4, -110 in that game. All right, and that's everything for today. Basically betting every game except for the Rays one. Just to recap, in the White Sox Cleveland, first 5 over 4. In the Twins at Royals, under 8.5. Brewers at Rockies, over 10.5. Jays at Red Sox, over 9. And Phillies at Braves, first 5 under 4. In terms of my leans, pretty much our only lean is first 5 under 4.5 in this Angels versus Rays game. But outside of that, grand slam, both these offenses did nothing in the first 5, and I think these 2 pitchers are even better than the ones yesterday. So, kind of just a similar read to that game. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Cheers.